Hi, everyone. My name is Catherine Wall, and this is session 155, which is titled Regulating Our Dysregulation, a guided relaxation session followed by a discussion offering practical tools for enhancing our quality of life. We're very happy today to have a fellow thyroid cancer survivor, and let's see, I got to pull up my other screen so I can read your bio. We have Donna Sherman with us. She is a clinical social worker and thyroid cancer survivor based out of Highland, New York and New York City. I'll let her tell you a little bit more about her background, but the thing I found intriguing is that she hosts a podcast. So I hope she'll include a little information about that sometime during our time together.
Hi, everybody. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for that introduction. We will save questions in the chat for the very end, because this is a different kind of a session. What's going to happen here is that I'm going to be guiding you in a guided practice, which means you'll be either reclining or lying down. And probably this portion of our time together will take about 35 minutes, somewhere between 25 and 35. And then after that, we'll move into a conversation about tools and practices that we can utilize to enhance our sleep, enhance cognition and memory, help our circadian rhythms get a little bit more regulated, and a whole host of other things that you might, want to talk about. So what I would like to do is, I guess I'll just say a little bit about myself. As you've already heard, I'm a thyroid cancer survivor, about 12 years out now, and have a background as a clinical social worker, and therapist, and that has segued into me doing a lot of, for lack of a better term, what I call behavioral health coaching. So working with groups, working with individuals, working with organizations to help create positive habits and look at our ability through our behaviors to optimize our health. And those of us in thyroid cancer land know all too well how funky our systems can get. I think we understand dysregulation like nobody's business. So rather than throw a lot of information at you, and we've all had access to so much great information, our time today is going to be a little bit more experiential, so that you can have a direct experience of a particular practice that I, both personally and professionally, find to be the most restorative practice that I've ever done. So I want to give you a experience with that and a feel for that. There's nothing mystical about it, even though it's called guided yoga nidra. You don't need to have ever practiced any yoga, because you are doing this, as I said, either reclining or lying down. So let's see, I think what we'll do is we'll just move right into it. So I can't see you all, but what I'm going to invite you to do now is take a minute or two and get yourself settled, either on the floor or on your chair. And if you can be comfortably on the floor with a blanket over you, go ahead and do that. Just make sure that you're close enough to your device so you can hear my voice. I'm recovering from a cold. I'm a little nasal. It's a little strained. So I want you to be able to hear. So what I'm going to do is give everybody about a minute to settle into a comfortable position. And then we'll just move right into the guided practice portion of our time today. As you're setting up, I will say this: if you are lying on your back, you don't want a particularly high pillow, because it's best to have your spine congruent and natural, so a low pillow or low padding. If you're in a chair or reclining, just figure out how you're most comfortable. Make sure you're warm enough or cool enough so that you can minimize any external distraction as we begin. Guided Yoga Nidra, a few things to say just to give you context, is an ancient practice, but it's languaged. I'm languaging in a way that is absolutely down to earth, no esoterica, none of that. And what's very cool about this practice is now being, which I'm thrilled about because I've been teaching it and doing it since the early 90s, is now being utilized in labs throughout the country. Scientists are paying a whole lot of attention to it. That's another issue, but I just want you to know that because its effectiveness is quite profound in terms of helping call in the parasympathetic and call in the restore aspects of our nervous system. So let yourself be settled in. You will hear a bell. And you don't need to do anything but simply follow my voice. You don't need to worry about time. I will take care of time. And I will leave enough time at the end for Q&A and discussion. And so, welcome, and we'll begin. If you haven't already closed your eyes, please close your eyes and actually feel the closing of your lids. If you're lying down, allow your feet to kind of flop open a little bit with your arms comfortably at your side. Palms up if that's comfortable, palms inward. And have the arms a few inches from the body. And to set the tone, you can quietly and inwardly say to yourself, I am practicing deep embodied guided restoration. I am practicing Yoga Nidra. Simply observe without trying to correct your breath. Note how breath moves through the body, how the body receives the in-breath, and the belly and the chest expand and rise a little, and how your body releases the out-breath. Let go of any thoughts about correcting your breath or breathing techniques. You're not practicing breath control. We are practicing simple embodied awareness. Feel how the back of your head makes contact with the ground or the chair beneath you. Feel the back of your shoulders making contact with the ground or chair beneath you. The back of your torso, the back of your legs. If you're seated on a chair, feel the sole of your right foot making contact with the ground and the sole of your left foot. If you can have both feet solidly on the ground, if seated, please do that. If not, no fuss, no worry. As we move through different points in the body, you will simply follow my voice and bring awareness to those points in the body without needing to move any part of the body. Again, observe the natural movement of the body receiving an in-breath. Go ahead, simply feel that. And releasing an out-breath. Now, as you are doing this, I want to invite you to kind of move into the region of your heart, if you will, that place of truth telling, of true desire. And perhaps there is a phrase or a word or something that represents for you a deep determination, a true desire, a very sincere desire. If nothing comes, no fuss, let it go. For example, if the desire were to be, I want to live a vibrantly healthy life, what we would do is quietly and inwardly state that to ourselves in present tense so that it's not in the future. So instead of, I wish to live a vibrantly healthy life, I am living a vibrantly healthy life. I'm going to be quiet for about 30 seconds so that you can see if this heartfelt intention bubbles up into your awareness. And if one does, just quietly repeat it inwardly to yourself 3 times in present tense. 30 seconds of silence begins now. Good. And now we move on. There is no doing any of this wrong. So know that as we move together and simply follow my voice. Feel in the safety of the room you are in and in the safety of your being. Bring awareness to the right eyelid, your left eyelid, both closed eyelids, and the point of contact between your upper and lower eyelids. Feel the skin on your face, the tip of your nose, inside your right nostril, inside your left nostril. You might feel air coming in and out. Just let it be. Feel your right cheekbone, your left cheekbone, upper jaw, lower jaw. Feel how your tongue simply rests in your mouth, feeling your tongue resting in your mouth. Now direct your awareness to your right thumb. You don't need to move it. Simply feel your right thumb, right index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky. Feel the palm of your right hand, the back of your right hand, right forearm, the point of your right elbow, upper arm, armpit, top of your right shoulder, back of your right shoulder, your entire right arm, and all the while, the breath is breathing you effortless, natural. Feel the right side of your chest, the center of your chest, the left side of your chest, the front of your torso, and whatever subtle movements are happening as the body is taking in breath and releasing out breath. Feel that and note the stable ground beneath you or the stable chair beneath you supporting you. Safe in your being and stable. Direct your attention to your left thumb, left side thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, pinky, the back of your left hand, palm of your left hand, left wrist, left forearm, inside crease of the left elbow, outside point of the left elbow, your left upper arm, armpit, top of the left shoulder, back of the left shoulder, your entire left arm and shoulder held in awareness, and your entire right arm and the entire front torso, all simply feeling, not thinking it, simply allowing yourself to feel. Now wrap your awareness to the back of the shoulders, the middle back, the lower back. And if you're seated on a chair, feel your pelvis and your buttocks and that which is supporting you. If you are lying down, feel the ground beneath you supporting you. And any and all subtle movements in the body are natural and effortless. Doing what they do to usher your entire being into a state of deep restoration. Deep restoration. Direct your attention to your right hip bone, right thigh, right knee, lower leg, ankle, top of the right foot, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. If you're lying down, feel where the back of your heel makes contact with the ground. If you're seated, feel whatever the sole of your right foot is making contact with. Just dropping into deep, accepting, embodied awareness, inviting in states of restore and refresh, not pushing for anything. Direct your attention to your left hip bone, left thigh, left knee, back of your left knee. Feel your left lower leg and the bones of your left ankle. Feel the top of your left foot, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Both your entire right hip, pelvis, hip, and legs, and left pelvis, hip, leg held in awareness. And all the while, the breath is breathing you. As your body naturally and effortlessly receives an in-breath, releases out-breath. Good. Feel that your body begins to grow heavy, as if your body is gaining some density. Heavy body. So heavy that it feels pleasantly immovable, safe and pleasantly immovable. Completely supported, as if it is made of things that are heavier than muscle and bone, pleasantly immovable. So much so that when it reaches a point of complete immovability, it now gains just a little bit more lightness. And now a little bit lighter, and lighter still. And even lighter, almost like a cotton fluff or petal floating. So light that it can't get any lighter. So it gains just a little bit more density, a little bit more weight, and a little more. And now your body, neither very heavy nor very light, is reconciled, supported fully and completely by the ground or chair beneath you. Complete support. Effortless. Bring your awareness to the region of your navel, just the basic area of your navel. And then bring your awareness to the region of your throat. And you can imagine that inside your body, perhaps like in the spinal column area, there's like a golden filament, almost like a fluid. And don't worry if this vision is not clear to you. Don't try to make that happen, because this is somatic. Follow my voice. As you inhale, There's a connection from the navel center up to the throat, as if that golden filament or that liquid gets a little brighter. As you exhale, the same happens from the throat back down to navel. Follow my voice and practice this with the rhythm that I set up. Here we go. Inhale, navel center to throat. Exhale slowly, throat back down to navel. Your exhale is just a little longer than your inhale. Inhale, navel center to throat. Exhale, throat back down to navel. Inhale, navel center to throat. Let the duration of the inhale and exhale get longer and easier. Exhaling, throat to navel. Inhale, navel center to throat. Exhaling, throat back down to navel. Now the exhalations get a little longer in duration, inviting in deep restoration. Follow my voice. Inhale, navel center to throat. Exhale, throat back down to navel. Inhale, navel center to throat. Exhaling, throat to navel. Inhaling, navel center to throat. Exhaling, throat back down to navel. Do this 3 to 6 more times on your own. Go ahead, your own rhythm. Good. And now one more. And slow the exhale down as much as you comfortably can. Go ahead. Good. Feel the ground beneath you. And how your body and mind are quietly resting. No agenda, nothing to do or fix. Now bring awareness to your scalp, the roots of your hair, and your hair. And feel your right ear attached to your head. Maybe feel the shape of it. Feel your left ear. And don't reach for any sound, but just let any ambient sound reveal itself to you. You don't have to analyze or think, just simple listen. Let sound come to you. Feel air on your skin. Feel where the back of your head either meets the floor or your chair and that point of contact. Feel how your eyes behind the closed eyelids are simply resting like two vibrant points of light, effortless, resting, vibrant points of light. As if cultivating the capacity to see more clearly with a sharper lens. Feel whatever subtle movement is happening as your body receives in-breath and releases out-breath. And without opening your eyes just yet, imagine the room you were in and tell yourself, I am practicing deep embodied awareness. I am practicing a guided yoga nidra. Now move your awareness to your right hand. And with your eyes still closed, simply stretch out the fingers. Feel the stretching. And do the same with the left hand. Simply stretch the fingers. And then press your right thumb and your right index finger together and you feel that point of contact. And then do that with each finger, right index finger and thumb, right middle finger and thumb, right ring finger and thumb, right pinky and thumb. And do the same with the left thumb and index finger. You can press them a little bit, middle finger, ring finger, pinky, stretching the hands, no rush. Allow yourself to begin to stretch your legs. And don't think about it, just respond how the body wants to stretch. And then allow that hands and feet and legs and arms to turn into a full body stretch. If you are lying on the floor, you can roll over onto your right or left side and just kind of curl up there and rest there. If you're seated in a chair, just continue to rest as you are comfortable. When you hear the bell, please very slowly, with no rush whatsoever, slowly open your eyes. And when you first open your eyes after hearing the bell, maybe just look at an innocuous spot on the wall or the floor, whatever's in front of you. Just let the eyes orient. And then you can just very slowly come back to your natural gaze and the screen, but do not rush. For those of you that are lying down, begin to make your way back to your screen, but move slowly, just taking this sense of restful embodiment with you. And as you're all settling back into your seat and your connection with your screen, I want to invite you one more time to go back to that heartfelt desire, that seed that you planted earlier in our practice, that you repeated to yourself 3 times. And go ahead and quietly, nothing out loud, and inwardly state that in the present tense. And if that feels unwieldy right now, let it go. Okay, and here we are. Take note of what you feel and how you feel. And if you have a notebook near you or a piece of paper and you want to write down that deep heartfelt desire, go ahead and do that. And know that this state is already within you. We all have this capacity for deep restoration. Restorative states are built into our cardiovascular system, our brain, every rhythm in our body, our sleep cycles, all of it. We live in a state of constant, as my friend, the sleep scientist, Sarah Bendick says, rev and restore, rev and restore. And what we do is we learn a lot of tools and practice that help usher us into restorative states because we need them. So I guess I can't see you all. I guess we'll open up our time together to discussion, question and answer, or if anybody wants to share how this was for them. I do see something in the chat, so I'll try to let's see. Reset the statement. I'm not sure. Somebody said, please reset, Carol, the statement. I'm not quite sure what you mean. Oh, restate. Okay. If you mean, Carol, the deep determination, there's actually a yogic word for it. It's called a sankalpa. You don't need to know that, but it's really cool. It's steeped in a lot of very interesting literature. The yogis were brilliant psychologists. So if that's what you're referring to, then you set it in present tense. And the example I gave was, instead of I will attain vibrant health, I am vibrantly healthy. It's not simple, silly, positive thinking, but it's working with a deep, heartfelt desire that's so strong in your being. The idea is that your actions will follow in accord with that desire. It's like how we work with habits in psychology, that when we understand the why of the positive habit that we're building, our actions are more likely to sync up with that true desire. So I hope that answers your question. So let's open it up, and maybe I can ask the producer if I know I can't hear you all, but here, well, we'll just go to the chat. Okay. Oh, okay. That's a great question. In order to restore our bodies, how often daily should we do these exercises? You're asking the wrong person all the time, Carol. Um, well, it has to work in your life, and they have to be practices that make sense to you, that don't feel like you're pulling from thin air and doing somebody else's practices. I will say, I'll share personally and professionally. I started practicing yoga nidra on myself in the 90s before when I was still doing clinical work, psychology, and psychotherapy, excuse me, but I was not teaching meditation. I was teaching meditation, but I wasn't even teaching yoga at the time. I just had a teacher. She came from India with a particular lineage, and she's very psychologically sophisticated. And she gave me, yoga nidra to practice, and I had never felt, and it was incomparable in terms of the quiet and cleanliness I felt in my mind and body. Okay, so all that said, I utilized it in a way that worked in my life. I was super busy raising my daughter, working. At the time, I was a single parent. It was kind of a crazy life. So yoga nidra, more than anything else, became my go-to practice. And over the years, it's just kind of woven its way into my life. When I went through thyroid cancer, of all the tools that I had in my toolkit, hands down, yoga nidra was the most powerful one and effective one. So I don't want to go on and on about me, but will say to you, Carol, or anybody else interested in this question, do it as it works for you. There's a lot of tools we can talk about today, but you really need to work it into your own life. It's like when students say, well, when I teach mindfulness meditation, how often and when should I meditate? You start experimenting with small steps. Like, I'm a big believer in small increments and that they grow. So I hope that's helpful. Okay, Kathy, how to turn off your monkey brain. Yeah. Don't try to turn off your monkey brain. Kathy asked, how can I give more insight into how to turn off our monkey brain? It's a mindfulness term for, like, our minds are just running around. It's the nature of mind to do that while meditating. And the paradox there, Kathy, is don't try to turn it off. Just observe it kindly. Like, oh, I'm planning. Oh, I'm ruminating. Oh, like, as soon as we label it, we start to distance from it a little bit. We start to push the pause button a little bit, because our mind likes to get busy. It likes to chew on things. So yeah, don't try too hard to quiet it. Observe it kindly, and then just utilize coming back to direct experience, which is the breath, for example, for direct sensation. Feel the in-breath, the out-breath. And don't worry if you have to do that many times. I know this is hard. Every question we could talk about for so long, but let's move on. Zandia. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, you're so very welcome. My pleasure. I'm so glad you could be here with us. Great. Oh, Catherine. Okay. Wow. Okay. So this is my thing. I could go on and on. It's probably good I have a cold. I'm reticent to talk too much. I would say, if you want to start with like a simple meditation and or mindfulness practice, and I know somebody, I forgot her name, she's lovely, is doing something tomorrow. So I would encourage you to go to her session. Start with tiny increments. So if you want to begin a mindfulness or meditation practice and you've never done it before, get rid of the idea of, oh, I'm going to sit for 5 minutes. Next day, I'm going to sit for 15, a half hour. No, like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. This is a very, very big subject. So I would say one of the single most, going back to Catherine's question about what practice do I suggest, one of the things that's user-friendly that you can do in the middle of your workday, your family life, anywhere, is to elongate your exhales. We did a little bit of it in Yoga Nidra. There's a lot of science behind that, and I will not geek out and I will not bore you with it. But if you inhale slowly through the nose, nasal breathing, you might want to read Jim Nestor's book on breathing. It's a very good book. If you breathe in through the nose, and then slowly exhale through the nose. A little will come out the mouth, but the in breath through the nose, but exhale very slowly. Like if you breathe in for 4, exhale for 6. That is a powerful practice. Okay, Teresa. Yes, so it's called Yoga Nidra, Nidra. I'm going to forgive my back for a moment. Forgive me. This is my recording, which you can, of course, it's digital. I don't know if you can all see this, but you can get this on iTunes and Amazon. And there's a 36-minute practice, and there's a 16-minute practice that I designed for teens and older children, which actually adults enjoy. So you don't have to use mine. I'm just, I designed mine in a particular way so it doesn't have an airy language, and it's just very down to earth. So that's Nidra. And let me just say that Nidra means it's a type of resting and sleep. Carol, my parasympathetic has become so heightened. Oh yeah, the only thing that's really helped is meditation mindfulness.
Donna, can you read the question? Because I'm not sure the chat will be recorded.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, I keep thinking we're all here together. Carol writes, my parasympathetic system has become so heightened. I wonder, Carol, if you mean you're sympathetic, but it's okay. Since my thyroid surgery and RAI treatment, the only thing that has really helped is meditation and mindfulness meditation. Do you consider Yoga Nidra a combination of both meditation and yoga? That's a really great question. It does have concentration elements to it, and it's very much an embodied practice, but it is different than meditation. In meditation, we're observing the thoughts, but we're just kind of like observing them and sort of widening around them, if you will, not getting layered in the story of the thoughts. That's how we train ourselves to observe. I'm having a thought, I'm planning, I'm ruminating. And in Yoga Nidra, when we're deep in it, we're not really having a whole lot of thoughts. So they work on the body differently. And I think Yoga Nidra does wonders for the autonomic nervous system, Carol, which you're referencing. You know, the sympathetic branch is our branch responding to the world, which very often is on overdrive. And those of us, when we go into suppression therapy, the beginning of our treatment, we know overdrive. And the parasympathetic branch is that aspect of our entire nervous system that says you can rest and you can restore. So they work beautifully together is, I guess, would be my short answer. Welcome. Catherine, that's a great question. What led me into this particular practice, as I mentioned earlier, was I never planned out to become a yoga teacher. I was just a woman, you know, living my life and being a therapist and raising my daughter and working hard. And I was fortunate to find this amazing yoga teacher who, as I said, comes from a really interesting lineage in India, and a female, which was like very unusual. So as I mentioned, she knew my interest in psychology and yogic psychology, what have you. So she introduced me to the practice. And as I mentioned, the first time I did it, I got up off the floor and literally said, nobody was around. My daughter was at school or something. And I literally said out loud, what is this? I've never felt so clear. And by the way, I want to say that I don't want to overhype anything. Not everybody loves Yoga Nidra, and it's not for everybody. So I just want to put that out there, that, or mindfulness and meditation, you know, that we all have like different constitutions and constellations. But Catherine, just to go back, when I started utilizing Yoga Nidra personally for a long time, then I brought it into my clinical practice because I worked with a lot of people who had were suffering with a lot of anxiety, from chronic to acute to trauma. And when appropriate, I would utilize some aspects, short versions of Yoga Nidra to help them move from a disembodied state to a more accepting and relaxed embodied state. And it was anecdotally quite powerful. Now it's being studied scientifically, but it wasn't back then. Oh, and I should also add, like, I'm just like all of you, like, don't think for a minute because I teach all this stuff and I've done all this stuff that I don't, deal with my shticks and anxiety and like everything like everybody else. I just have a big toolkit. Oh, you're so welcome. Yeah, it's kind of especially nice after a day of a lot of wonderful information and data points and all that great stuff that the conference offers, which is amazing, to have an opportunity to just drop into our bodies and restore a little. Teresa says, yeah, I know that sometimes just taking some deep breaths can help immensely. Absolutely. And again, forgive me for being a broken record, Teresa, but elongating your exhales will invite in a little bit more of that restorative state. I would like to share with you, this is a book, not my book, I wish. This, if you're going to get one book or take it from your library, that's going to really dive deep, but in a really engaging way with a scientist who's like totally down to earth and has a great sense of humor, to understand these natural restorative and revved up states in our body. I'll put this in the chat as well. This is by Sarah Mednick. In fact, speaking, Catherine, you asked about my podcast. I had her on my podcast. This is a fabulous book, The Power of the Downstate, Recharge Your Life Using Your Body's Own Restorative Rhythms. She doesn't just dive deep in the science, she gets into down to earth, how to utilize these practices. Highly recommend, very engaging and chock full of information. And information is empowering, so I can put this in the chat as well. I did early on in the chat write down my email address. It's donnalynnsherman@gmail. It's so weird not to see you all, but donnalynnsherman@gmail.com, and my website. I answer emails, I do. So you are so welcome to get in touch with me. I invite it. It would be my delight to talk with you. And if I can be a resource in any way, it would be my pleasure. Okay. Oh, thank you, producer. Ryan, I had a total thyroidectomy last year, along with 175 MCI-RAI. I have significant anxiety. Can you please expand on ways I can cope with this? Ryan, it's such a large topic. First, continue the conversation with your endocrinologist, looking at your levels. Make sure I am not an endocrinologist, but sometimes shortly after our thyroidectomies, most of you know we go into a phase of our treatment, which is suppression therapy, where we're put on a pretty high dose of levoxythyrene or Synthroid, and where could be in a sort of over suppression mode. And that might be done for very smart medical reasons. So between you and your endocrinologist, your medical team, you need to tweak that and see if that is it. I think ways of coping with it is to do as much and learn as many self-regulatory practices as possible. And what we did is one of them. There's other things too that are like so down to earth, so down to earth. And, we could talk about like sleep hygiene. I know we're getting close to our end, but getting proper sleep, which is a tough thing for a lot of us who've really dealt with a lot of dysregulation. In Dr. Mednick's book, she deals beautifully with sleep issues, very practical. Getting morning light, in the evenings, getting rid of LED lights, blue lights, having orangey lights, and making sure that you really create a lot of sleep habits that might be helpful. Ryan, you know what? You feel free to contact me and we can talk further, because there's a host of things, and certainly, we could talk about that. Olga, thank you so much. Okay, 4 minutes remaining from the producer. Thank you. Oh, okay. If you're dealing with panic attacks, Kathy wrote about having panic attacks after TT and trying meditation with some success. Sometimes, paradoxically, mindfulness and meditation amps up the anxiety, particularly when we're first learning the practice, because we're not running from it. So you want to, if you're going to do a meditation practice, find a skilled instructor who will help you with the anxiety. But I would say that when and if you're having panic attacks, again, forgive my broken record, do like a very specific targeted breath practice. Maybe breathe in for 5 through the nose, pause for just a second or two, and then exhale out the nose for maybe 6, 7, or 8. And that can have enormous impact.
Well, Donna, I think I speak for everyone in saying that this was a fantastic session, and I'm so thankful that I volunteered to help with this one, even though I wasn't a whole lot of help, but it was a fantastic session. And I just thank you so much for your time and for doing this for us and for sharing your contact information and these books and things. So thank you very much. And you have a wonderful, relaxing voice, as someone else said. I agree.
Oh, thank you. It was a pleasure to be here. ThyCa is near and dear to my heart. Thanks to all of you who put on the conference and to all of us in the thyroid cancer survivor community. Let's just keep supporting each other with what we know and what we share. And it was a pleasure to be here. And feel free to contact me. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for having me.